In this podcast, we're going to look at a super interesting study that the BBC did on a prison. So this was done by Riker and Halsam in 2006. So they set up an experiment like that of Zimbardo's Stanford prison experiment. They wanted to observe how dynamics between groups evolved over time. So they did it as a controlled observation set up in a mock prison, and it was also filmed for broadcasting on the BBC because they thought it would be good for TV. 15 male volunteers took part, and they were randomly assigned roles. 10 of them were guards, and 5 of them were inmates. Their levels of compliance, stress, and depression were measured each day. They were also told that one random prisoner would be promoted and become a guard on day 3. They also set up an ethics committee, which could stop the experiment at any point if anything went wrong. The guards did not form a group and did not always use their authority, and they did not identify with their assigned role. The unequal system eventually failed because the guards had a weak group identity and the prisoners formed a strong group identity. So I'm going to break down the results into the days as it happened in the study. In days 1 to 3, all the prisoners acted in ways that they thought would allow them to become guards. From day 4 onwards, the prisoner group formed a stronger identity because they knew they couldn't get promoted. On day 6, the prisoners rebelled, and the participants formed a democracy. On day 6 onwards, the democracy eventually failed because of group tensions. Some ex-prisoners tried to establish a hierarchy. The ethics committee stopped the experiment early because of the participants' stress levels. So in conclusion, the volunteers did not embody or stick to their assigned roles, and this implies that roles might have some flexibility. So I'm going to evaluate this study that the BBC did. What were the pros and cons of the study? So the pros of the study was that there was no deception, so no lies were told. And there was also a protection set in place, as the ethics committee could stop the experiment at any point, and debriefing and counselling was also offered after the experiment. The cons of the study were that it was quite artificial. This means that the experiment has low ecological validity, as it can't be generalised well to normal real situations. It was also staged for TV, so lots of people claimed that parts of the study were staged and participants were influenced by the cameras. There was also a lack of empowerment, as the guards in this experiment weren't promoted to keep order, like they were in Zimbardo's, and this might explain their lack of motivation and empowerment. So the pros of the study: there was no deception, and the ethics committee could stop the experiment. There was counselling, and there was also debriefing. The cons were that it was an artificial situation, it was staged for TV, and the participants lacked empowerment. And that pretty much sums up the BBC prison study. So that's a good comparison to the Stanford prison experiment.